Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Juana Andrew here with a check of your forecast on this alert day. Yeah, pretty active day overall. So good morning to everyone. Good morning to you, Carol in Tell City, Ashley in Paoli. Good morning, Lisa, as always. Good morning to you. Fort Wayne, Vicky, you're in Fort Wayne. Stay safe for some of the storms moving your way later on this morning. Just a heads up for you there. And Laura, good morning. Good morning, and Ayana, Glenda as well. Glenda, good morning from Bardstown. Still warm, but not looking forward to the stormy weather. Same, Glenda, same. Samantha, good morning. And good morning to you, Mike in Georgetown. So yeah, we have a pretty interesting morning so far, a big group of you. So we got Graham from Hikes Point, Karen from Mount Washington, Andrea, I don't know which one it is. Hopefully it's one of those two. Good morning, Teresa. Good morning to you. We got Cindy and Mitchell and Patrick. Good morning. And good morning to you, Tiffany, as well in Louisville. So a lot of people from all over the place this morning as we're getting ready for this alert day. Now, here's something that I don't want to see on a day like today. The sunshine beaming down in Bardstown. Yeah, I'm sure it is beautiful right now. And a lot of you are going to be like, let me just get my errands done and whatnot. And now is a great time to do that, actually. But the sunshine that we're seeing right now is just going to help to create a lot more instability in the atmosphere as we move throughout the day today. So that is something we really don't want. What we would want on a day like today is just a lot of that light rain just sticking around all day. Yeah, it would make it dreary, but certainly wouldn't enhance our severe weather threat. But the sunshine today certainly going to add to a little bit more of that instability that we're seeing across parts of the region. But a lot of what we have been dealing with right now, or so far this morning, has been some of those strong severe thunderstorms outside of our area. In fact, parts of Missouri saw a significant tornado move through around 4 a.m. this morning. I was watching it on the radar as I was trying to get things ready for the show this morning, and it was rotating basically like a top. It was very, very strong as it moved through. So, of course, if you watch Wave News throughout the day, we'll be pulling in information from our sister station in Paducah, certainly about that as well. But that cold front is now marching towards St. Louis. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings there. We do have a tornado watch up in the Fort Wayne area. So Who was in Fort Wayne? Vicky, you're in Fort Wayne. You're underneath that tornado watch. A heads up for you up there. So hopefully you're traveling south. But yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that. Some strong storms moving into central Indiana right now. And of course, the main batch of severe weather is still well to our west, moving through Illinois. Samantha, I have to go from Hanover to Scottsburg around 4 p.m. Looking for updates to see if I should cancel plans. If you want to just not hang out with somebody, don't use me as an excuse. I'm just joking. But we're going to keep an eye on some storms moving into that particular area, parts of southern Indiana, later on this afternoon, right around that 3-4 o'clock time frame. So Samantha, you're right to be paying close attention to the forecast. Carissa, rain showers near Seymour right now. Yes, you're getting the leftovers of that storm system, that batch of storms that created that tornado earlier this morning. So that's just the leftovers of that. What we're seeing, some of those showers, even a couple of rumbles of thunder, some lightning, up towards the Millport area, over towards Seymour, down towards Paoli, and even into parts of Washington County near Salem, dealing with a little bit more of that rain. So we're going to continue to watch for that first batch. It's just an initial batch of rain, not expecting anything severe with that. But you can certainly see the impact that the rain has had on temperatures. You're now down to 68 degrees in Seymour. Ashley, saying thunder, lightning, and rain here in Paoli. Yes, you have a decent batch of heavy rain moving right past your area right now. So yeah, you're just dealing with the rain, thankfully, and just a couple of thunderstorms. That's it. Thankfully, the severe weather threat does not show up until later on this afternoon. I do like the timing on this in terms of the fact that everyone is going to be awake for it. We've had a lot of nighttime severe threats recently. So the fact that everyone's going to be awake for this is a good thing, but the timing in terms of it coming in the middle of the afternoon when we're the hottest part of the day, not the greatest either. But as I mentioned, we are in the 70s across most of the region. Paoli, Seymour, you're upper 60s right now because of the rain that's moving through your area. And don't forget, we have the wind advisory that goes until 8 p.m. tonight for every single one of us, just because of the strong wind. So right now we're seeing some wind gusts in a 20 to 30 mile per hour range. Not too bad, right? We've seen that plenty of times before. But as we continue into the afternoon, some gusts near 35, 45 miles per hour are possible. And that's going to be outside of the severe weather. So it's going to be windy regardless of what you're dealing with for today. So for those of you who drive those SUVs, those higher profile vehicles, those fancy trucks, yeah, you're going to be dealing with a little bit more of the impact. And the wind today, if you have allergies, it is bad. I stepped outside this morning. Instantly my throat started itching and I started like dealing with like a cough. So that is something you're going to have to contend with today, those high pollen counts across the area in terms of tree pollen and for grass as well. It's still going to be an issue for tomorrow and into Friday. So if you are allergic to anything, mainly trees and grass, just be extra careful and make sure you're taking those allergy medications. So here's what we're looking at in terms of our severe threat for today. Let's dive into this. Basically, everyone underneath that enhanced risk, the level 3 out of 5, we got upgraded to this yesterday, and we're still underneath that enhanced risk right now. So let's break down the individual threats. The tornado potential is low, but it's there. So we could see some isolated spin-up tornadoes, a little bit like what we dealt with Friday night into Saturday morning, where we had that one spin-up that went through parts of eastern Jefferson County. That's entirely within the realm of possibility with some of these storms later on today. So we'll have to watch that very, very closely. But yeah, the isolated tornado threat is there as we head into later on this afternoon. The main threat that we have is going to be that damaging wind threat. We're talking wind gusts 60 plus miles per hour possible with the strongest storms. And that is going to be basically for everyone getting in on that potential. Now, there's also a chance for some hail. It's not as significant in other parts of the country, but that chance for hail is there with the storms as we head into the afternoon. So basically, all forms of severe weather on the table as we get into the second half of today. So I've seen a couple of questions about the timing of this. Mark is asking the time for Danville, Kentucky. Graham, I work at Amazon at 6:30 tonight in Jeffersonville, Indiana. What should I expect? Well, let's dive into that right now. So we're seeing some of those scattered showers and thunderstorms like we talked about in southern Indiana, Paoli, Seymour. You're dealing with that heavy rain. You're dealing with the lightning and some gusty winds right now. Now, as we get further into the lunchtime hour, we can see some more breaks in the clouds, which, as I mentioned, not what we want to see on a day like today because it creates way more instability in the atmosphere, basically providing that extra fuel for these storms because we already have plenty of moisture around the area right now. And then you add in those temperatures jumping into the low 80s this afternoon, that puts a lot more of that severe threat on the table. So we're looking at after 2 p.m. It will start to move into southern Indiana. So for those of you wondering about the timing, here we go. After 2 p.m., our southern Indiana counties will start to see more of the impact. So we're talking towards Paoli, Seymour, Salem, North Vernon. You're going to start to see some of these strong, severe storms moving towards you. Going to keep that happening till around 2, 3, 4 o'clock. And it will continue to push to the south as we get closer to 5, 6, 7 o'clock. So by the time we reach closer to 5, 6 o'clock this evening, it's going to be closer to the Louisville metro. So that is when the severe threat goes up right along the 65 corridor. Melissa, you are entirely right on this. If the sun shines today, it's a trick. Sun before a storm brings hail in my experience. And hail is on the table, yes, for today. So is that damaging wind. So keep in mind that when you see those little batches of sunshine as well, you'll probably end up noticing that the wind is going to increase because, of course, with that sunshine, it helps to mix all of that strong wind above our heads down towards the ground. So that is when you'll probably see some of those wind gusts near 45 miles per hour in some cases. So we get a double whammy with the sunshine for today. So as I mentioned, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, southern Indiana, from Paoli up towards North Vernon to Seymour, you'll start getting in on the severe weather threat at that point. As we get closer to 5, 6 o'clock this evening, for those of you near the Louisville metro, down towards E-Town, towards Litchfield, this is when you start to get in on your severe threat later on today. And then as we approach around 6, 7, 8 o'clock tonight, for those of you further to the east, so we're talking from Frankfort down to Lebanon to Campbellsville, that is when you will see your severe threat later on today. So it's just going to gradually push further to the south and east with the cold front. Now, our severe threat does look to drop off pretty significantly after 10 p.m., which is some good news, but keep in mind, we're still going to keep some of those showers around all the way into your Thursday morning. So while the severe threat will drop off, the rain will still be an issue. Angela, good morning, dear. Tawana, I'm over these winds. Yeah, it's been incredibly windy recently. And for those of you who listen to my Science Behind the Forecast segments every week on WFPL, that is what I'm going to be talking about this week. So for those of you who are fans of that, just a little sneak peek of what I'm doing the research on right now. So Carissa asked, what time is it going to end in southern Indiana? Well, for you, the severe threat, I cannot remember where you are, Carissa, but please remind me. But for southern Indiana, we are going to be seeing that severe threat really between 2 p.m. and about 6 p.m. That is when your window is really going to be there. And then for those of you in the metro area, the Louisville metro area, right along 65, we're really talking closer to 4 or 5 o'clock. So Carissa, you're a little south of Seymour. Thank you. So for you, Carissa, you're talking a little bit more about that 2 to about 6 p.m. time frame in terms of your severe threat. So there you go with that. Same thing for those of you in the Madison, Indiana area, a little bit closer to the 3 to 7 o'clock time frame with that. So Kathy, you asked that question around 3 to 7. It looks like. For the metro area, we're talking around that 4 o'clock to about 7, 8 o'clock. It looks like it will depend on how slow this front goes, because keep in mind, if this front slows down, then that's going to push back the time for all of you. So make sure you're tuned in at midday with Brian Good, and you're tuned in later on this afternoon in case this front does slow down, because it seems to be trying to do that. So the timing of this could shift a little bit backwards. So just giving you a heads up there. Now, overall, once we get past 10 p.m., that severe threat does go down quite a bit. But as I mentioned, the rain is still going to be around. So Wendy, Radcliffe, Fort Knox, we're still talking about that between that 4 p.m. and about 7, 8 o'clock tonight time frame. Ashley had a really good question here. Is the cap going to stay in place so it doesn't get bad? Well, here's the thing. We have all that sunshine around. And that is going to really enhance the instability across the area. So it looks like we could certainly see that potential for these storms to fight right through that cap, right through that layer, and just really blossom. So that's not what we want to see at all. But that's certainly the possibility as we get into the afternoon. So this is why on days like today, we always say be weather aware, make sure you're paying attention to what's going on in terms of the forecast. You have your notifications turned on, you have your location turned on. For those of you with the Wave Weather app, make sure that you double check, you go into the app, and especially if you're moving locations, go into the app and make sure it's following you, because sometimes it may give you the information for where you previously were. That happens to me quite a lot between home and work. So I want to make sure that you double check that, have it on the follow me setting, especially on a day like today if you're going to be roaming about. And then as we continue in throughout the day today, thankfully, a lot of this is going to be done by around 10, 11 o'clock tonight. So that should help us actually have a night where we can actually sleep with other, because it's been more during the daytime. But in terms of the potential storm rotation, something I've been noticing, central Indiana does have a better chance to see some of those rotating storms later on this afternoon. So I'm talking just to the north of our southern Indiana county. So really between Seymour and Indianapolis really is where we have a better chance for that, it looks like. And a lot of the models are agreeing on that trend. But then in terms of anything further to the south, maybe a weak spin up here and there. It's trying to pop up, but nothing significant, thankfully. So that's something that I don't mind seeing. So we're going to have to keep an eye on, of course, the damaging wind threat. I know a lot of us are just so over the wind threat recently, but unfortunately, it's something else that we have to contend with again today, in addition to what we're going to be dealing with as we get into this evening, this afternoon with those storms. Todd, it's a little windy down here in Vine Grove. Yeah, we're already seeing some of those gusts near 30 miles per hour. And when we see a little bit more of that sunshine getting through the clouds today, the wind will pick up because it's just mixing everything down from the upper levels of the atmosphere. Chris, I'm just trying to get through today so we can enjoy next week without the storms. And perfect segue, Carissa. Thank you. Once we get into your Thursday, we'll still see some showers around, just normal low rain showers, mainly across Kentucky for the morning. Looks like by Thursday afternoon, we dry out. And then Friday, it's going to be cloudy, cool, highs near 60 degrees. For the Easter weekend, we're going to be talking about 60s and low 70s for highs. Sunday itself is looking pretty great, so I'm kind of happy about that because I know there's a lot of Easter egg hunts, a lot of people going to be out and about having picnics. I'm having brunch with families, so Easter is looking nice. Yes, Glenda, I completely agree. Easter is looking wonderful. And for those of you who really love warm weather, next week is for you. I guess we're gifting this to you, a little bit of summer early. It feels like all of our seasons are all the way off, so I'm not entirely surprised by this. But the end of next week, some mid to upper 80s for highs in the forecast. And most next week right now is looking quiet. Hopefully, knock on this table, it stays that way. I think a lot of the meteorologists just really want to break because it seems like every single week there's been something, sometimes even multiple times a week. So this is some good news to see some quieter weather trying to come our way down the road. But what we're looking at in terms of today, of course, is that damaging wind threat, the isolated tornado threat, and that hail threat. Graham is asking, what is the weather for thunder over Louisville? Graham, can we get through the day first? I'm tired. I'm just kidding. Right now, things are trending warmer towards the middle of the month. So hopefully it stays that way. We're going to keep an eye on that. It's still very, very far out. But yeah, don't worry. We're all watching it. The entire weather team is going to be paying very close attention to it because we'll all be out and about on that day. Carissa, appreciate your videos. Anxiety gets so bad on a day like today. You guys keeping us informed makes all the difference. And that's what we try to do. We want to make sure that everyone is as informed as informed. Wow, my brain is slowly shutting down. We want to make sure that everyone is as informed as they can be on a day like today. I know a lot of people have anxiety about the storms, tornadoes, all of that. I completely understand it. So that's why we try to give as much information as possible so everybody can be prepared and not panic as we move forward. So overall, that's the main focus. And one more question before I head on out of here. Will Bardstown, Kentucky be very bad today? We still have the same threats as everybody else. Mainly watching that isolated tornado threat, but it's the damaging wind threat. That's the main thing we're going to have to watch. And of course, some hail with some of the stronger storms. So everybody just pay attention to the Wave Weather app as the day goes along. Make sure you're staying weather aware, and we're going to keep an eye on it as we continue throughout the rest of the day. So everyone have a wonderful Wednesday. It is Wednesday. And thank you for watching. Just keep a close eye on the Wave Weather app as the day continues, and we'll keep you updated.